Hey guys, Akhtar Khan here from Reaching Excellence. In this video, I want to share with you an incredibly powerful, fast way to build serious wealth through buying companies that generate you a six-figure income for little to no money down. And if they're set up the right way, they can be done in such a way that you don't have to work in those companies or in those businesses, and they can become passive income for you, okay? So guys, I want to dive into this and I want to give you a full breakdown. So this is going to be a comprehensive video. This isn't going to be a quick high-level overview. I'm going to break it down and give you the blueprint and step-by-step way of doing things. I'm going to be teaching you my model, which I call the 3 M's of buying businesses, okay? Now, as I go through this, I want you to stay through to the very end, because I'm not only going to give you the whole blueprint, but at the end of this video, I'm going to give you an opportunity to jump onto a one-to-one call with me and go through your business. I'm going to put a business strategy or business blueprint together for you, okay? So I need you to stick through to the very, very end. Now, if you've seen my videos before, you know they're normally in our studio back in Kent or the office in Mayfair. Today, we're in a very different location. I'm going to do a little walk around tour. And by the way, there's a reason I'm going to share where I'm at right now, which is important. It also relates to why people want to sell their businesses. So if it seems like I'm going off tangent a little bit, it's all going to make sense. So just stay with me and stay to the very end, okay? So I'm in the Maldives right now. I'm in the Park Hyatt Resort, which is the very south atoll of the Maldives, and it's absolutely stunning. I'm here in my beach villa. I'm going to give you a quick walk around tour. And I'm also going to share a couple of really important things that I share to people. Okay guys, so I'm in this beautiful little beach villa in the Maldives. It's right by the beach. We have our own little pool here and private access to the beach down here. Now, look, the reason I'm sharing this with you, like I said before, is not to brag or boast, but I actually want to share a really important point. If you've ever heard me talk or you've ever come to one of my trainings, you'll always hear me stress the point that your business is not the end goal. Your business is the vehicle to get you from where you are now to where you want to be. So in other words, your business should be there for you to live life according to your values, for you to live your best life, okay? So look, guys, I'm on this beach right now, and it's just absolutely, it's beyond words. I mean, it's just like a slice of heaven. So I want to share this point with you because this relates to people who want to sell their businesses. One of the things that I want you to really understand is this, okay? Before I teach you all the content and also why people want to sell businesses, this is something that's really important to understand, okay? Look, time is the most valuable thing that we've got, okay? We don't get time back, and life is not a dress rehearsal. And one of the things that I'm doing right now in my own kind of business and my own life is I'm gearing up for retirement. So I'm like looking to buy businesses because businesses make way more money than some of the property deals that I do. And I'm going to show you and give you some examples of the deals that I've done, and also deals that you could do. And one of my students has done a deal as well, okay? Look, guys, I want to share something which is a little bit personal to me, okay? Now, my father passed away about 1.5 years ago. And he worked all his life. He worked till he got to 65. He then retired. He didn't know what to do with himself, so he was lost for a couple of years. And he then got to a point where he decided to go back to his home country. He was out there for 9 months. He got ill, couldn't come back to the UK because of COVID, and flights were stopped. Sadly, he passed away out there. And I remember thinking to myself, shit, my dad had 9 months of his life, of his retirement, to live, okay? And it was quite sad. That's all he had. So guys, look, this makes you realize how precious life is and how precious time is. And that's why you want to be doing things like this. You want to be experiencing your best life now, not when you're 65, not when you're 70. You know, you need to do it now whilst you've got the health, you've got the energy, and you've got the ability to do those things. And we can do that. And this is why I'm buying businesses. And this is why I'm going to encourage you guys to do the same. So look, I want to get into the content of this and start teaching you a little bit about what I do, how I do it, how you can go and do it, okay? So let's go back up to the villa, okay? And I'm going to dive straight into the content. So you might want to get a pen and paper handy as we go through this, and you might want to make some notes, okay? Let's talk about why you want to buy businesses. If you go to the Sunday Times Rich List, you'll normally see a list of people. You'll see what their level of wealth is, what their main industry is, and you tend to see they do this industry and property, that industry and property, this sector and property. So there's a lot of, you know, very, very wealthy people out there that make a lot of money through their businesses, and what they then do is take the profits from those business and invest it into property. So that's something that you could do, okay? Now, I want to give you a little comparison. Now, if you look at it from a asset value purchase point of view, you could go and buy a flat. Let's say you went and bought a cheap flat for a couple of £100,000. You put a 50 grand deposit down, put it down as a buy to let. You probably make 4 or 5 grand a month, 4 or 5 grand a year profit after you've paid for your expenses and bits and pieces. Well, that's not too bad. You've got capital appreciation, and a number of those in the portfolio would work. Now, I want you to just understand something. You could go and buy a business for about the same money. And I'm going to give you an illustration of a scaffolding company that I've recently purchased. The scaffolding company was worth £250,000. That's the asset value. The actual stock of the scaffolding equipment was worth £250,000. They had a business that turned over about £300,000 a year, dipped slightly during COVID, but now it's on for £360,000 with roughly about a 50% profit margin. So I'm buying a business that's valued at £250,000 that will be making or turning over £360,000 with roughly about a 50% profit margin. So we're looking at somewhere between 160 and 180 profit margin from an asset that we're actually purchasing for £235,000. So just look at that, put them side by side, a flat for £200,000 or a scaffolding company, a business for £235,000 that brings in about £160,000 a year in net profit, okay? So look, if you look at it pound for pound, you're gonna make more money through a business. Now, there is some more to it. You need to have the skill set to be able to oversee that. So one thing that I would suggest to people is use simple service businesses. We've chose scaffolding, not because I've got any particular passion about scaffolding. It's because we use scaffolding for some of our development projects. It's a service business. There's always a need and requirement for it. So as we look for businesses to buy, my suggestion is always find something that you can understand and you know about. It's in your field of expertise. You've perhaps got some experience in the field, but it's a service business that there's a demand for, okay? So the idea is, and this is one of the reasons that we're doing it, is because we're looking at using these businesses as cash cows to generate an income that we can then utilize that funds to put into property. Again, coming back to the Sunday Times rich list. So on a personal level, part of the reason why I'm out here in the Maldives is, yes, I'm having a great holiday. I got COVID before Christmas, and Christmas was a bit crap. I was in isolation for Christmas and my birthday, New Year and so forth. So it's a bit of a justification, but I'm really out here celebrating my wins because I've just completed on that scaffolding company that I mentioned in Southwest London. That's on for, turning over about £360,000 a year. I've bought a smaller company. Again, this is a retirement sale, and I've bought it so I can buy the asset and the stock, the scaffolding equipment, to merge into my company in Southwest London, okay? There's another company that I'm in the process of negotiating with, which is a larger scaffolding company, valued at about £1.7 million. Again, the owner's retiring, and I'm going to touch more into that, the motivation behind a lot of sellers. Now, you get a lot of people who want to retire, and all these three companies are retirement sales, okay? So my role is to go in, do the deals, and I'm going to show you how to do those deals, and then work on the companies, not in the companies. I'm going to go into a bit more detail around that, but I wanted to give you a high level of overview around why you should be buying companies, how to run them, and how to take the profits to the overall strategy, okay? Now, here's the thing. If you've seen me before, you've probably seen me talk about property and property portfolios. The high level strategy that you want to have if you're going to be getting into buying businesses is to own a portfolio of businesses that people manage for you, okay? So with my scaffolding companies, there's already management teams in place. I'm not interested in going and doing any scaffolding. All I'm interested in doing is managing the managers and overseeing the team. So the key thing I want you to get here is that as a high level strategy, you can build a portfolio of companies that generate you a six-figure income, okay? And you can have them set up and managed. Just like you have a portfolio of maybe half a dozen or 10 properties, you can have a portfolio of companies. And the strategy is that you want to be having a portfolio of companies that you can skim out £10,000 a month profit from. So you want the company to be profitable. You want it to pay for the for the staff and the overheads and leave money on the table. And you want to be in a position where you can skim out 10 grand a month as a management fee or a consultancy fee for overseeing the company. Now, you start doing this with 4 or 5 companies, you're on 40, 50 grand a month. And what I'm talking about in terms of these figures, it might seem like it's a bit crazy high for you. Believe me, these figures are easy doable. There's companies out there that make even more profit, okay? And we'll go into that as we go through and start teaching the content, okay? So on that note, I want to dive into the content in a little bit more detail, okay? I also want you to understand something, okay? What I'm going to talk about here is how you structure the kind of purchase of a company, okay? So you can use this to buy a business, but you can also use this to buy a company that owns property, okay? So you can structure the deal the same way. And there's a wonderful opportunity here that one of my mentees previously took up an opportunity of, okay? There's an opportunity here where people who want to sell property portfolios If there's multiple properties in the portfolio, they can't sell it on Rightmove or can't sell it with an estate agent because they're not really selling the property, they're selling the company. So the company has to be sold via a business broker. And I'll talk about that in a bit more detail, but it's kind of a gray area. So people don't sell them very easy because they're a little bit tricky to sell. If you know how to find them and you know how to structure the deal, which I'm going to teach you in a moment, then you can buy those. And my student, Maura, who did this deal, she completed on it a little while ago. And she's made a 200 grand uplift on buying a portfolio in a company. She didn't really have to do that much work to it as well. So look, let's dive into the content of this, okay? I want to give you the 3 M's of buying businesses, okay? Now, the first one is motivation, okay? When it comes to buying businesses, you need to be buying from motivated sellers. No different from when you're buying property, okay? And the biggest reason that people want to sell their businesses is retirement, okay? And I want you to understand this, okay? When people buy or when they set up a business or they acquire a business, they might spend 20 years building this business. It'd be, it's something that's, provided them their income. It's been a lifestyle business. It becomes their baby. When they get to the point of retirement, if they haven't got a succession plan or they haven't got kids or someone to take it over, this business now becomes a prison for them, okay? And it's really important that we understand what happens when people get into that point. They become, they're older, they're in their 60s, the clock is ticking away, and it's not easy and it's not quick to sell a business, okay? And the reason for that is, if you want to sell a property, you put it on the market and the estate agent deals with it, they normally get an offer quite quickly. When it comes to selling businesses, it's a long-winded process, okay? A lot of the time, businesses aren't valued properly. Sometimes people think a business is a business when it's not really a business. My definition of a business is something that can run without you running. There's a management team in place. There's people in place. It runs systematically. If it isn't like that, then you create yourself a job, okay? So there's a lot of businesses that get advertised out there. They take a long time to sell. What the business brokers do is they charge a fee for listing. So what they tend to do is they overinflate the prices, and then they stick around. So they don't sell very quickly. So in my experience of talking to business owners, most of the time their businesses have been advertised for 2 years or more. Okay, sometimes 3 or 4 years. So you get people who are highly motivated because they can't sell them. Now, if someone typically wants to go and buy a business, let's say my scaffolding company, for example, they say, hey, I want to go and buy ABC Scaffolding Limited. It's up for sale at 235 grand. Okay, how do I pay for this? Now, what happens is they'll go to the bank and the bank will say, okay, we'll lend you half the money, but you need to find the other half of the money, or we need to take some kind of security, which is collateral on your house. Most people don't want to risk that. So it becomes very tricky to get commercial finance or asset type finance to finance these businesses. But don't worry, I'm going to share with you how we did it in a very clever, creative way. So you need to understand the motivation of these buyers. Retirement is a huge thing. And of course, you've got distressed companies out there as well. But retirement is the biggest thing. So you want to look for people who want to retire and they want to get out of their business, because for them, the pain point is being stuck in the business. So the 3 scaffolding companies that I've got at the moment, the first one that we bought, he wanted to retire. He wanted to go to Lanzarote with his wife. He wanted out and he was advertising his business for 2 years, couldn't sell it, okay? The smaller company that we bought to take the assets out, retirement sale. The large company, this is another retirement sale. When he went through COVID, it knocked the stuffing out of him, it tired him out, and he just decided he had enough and he wants out, okay? Retirement, people become tired, they become distressed, and they value their time at the end of their life, and they want to just get out and do something different, okay? So this is the thing, you need to understand motivation, okay? The second thing you need to understand is management, okay? It's really, really important that when you take over a company, there is a decent management team or people who can run the business for you. Now, without that, if you're going to be working in the business, it kind of defeats the object of the exercise. You don't want to be creating yourself another job. So you want to make sure that there is someone there that can, do the roles and responsibility. And your job is to work on the business rather than in the business. Now, sometimes you'll find a business that's perfectly got a team that can do everything. You don't need to do anything at all. That's wonderful. Sometimes you might find that the owner is actually working in the business, which was the case with our scaffolding company in Southwest London. So what we did is in the contracts that we did, we said, okay, you're going to work in the business, but you're going to have to build a team that can take over the works. And that's part of his role. He has to build that team so he can exit the business, okay? So it's super, super important that you have a management team in place who can manage the day-to-day running of businesses, because you do not want to create yourself a job. You don't want to be running around doing scaffolding or whatever else it is, okay? That defeats the object of the exercise. You want to be creating these businesses and assets that generate you money, so you could be doing stuff like this, sitting on a beautiful beach somewhere, or being on holiday, or being with your loved ones, or doing what's most important to you, okay? And the third thing I want to talk to you about, and this is the most important thing, okay, is when it comes to money, it's about my terms, okay? So here's how I've structured the deals with these business owners, okay? Now, with our scaffolding company in Southwest London, what I decided to do, and this is a term in the mergers and acquisitions world called a deferred consideration. So what does that mean? It means, yes, I'm going to buy your company from you. I'll give you the amount of money that you're asking, but I'm going to pay you off in installments. Now, why would someone do that? Well, it's because they're motivated. They want to get out. And if they've had 2 years, if you think about it, someone who's going to retire, if they're in their 60s, time is precious to them, okay? They don't want to wait another 2 years for a buyer. They want out. They absolutely want out. So, you know, when they want out and they're motivated, you know, they're more likely to do a deal on your terms. I don't care what the money is, you know, how much we're going to pay for the business, as long as we can pay for it out of the profit. That's the way that we structure the deals. So in essence, when it comes to buying a business, what you want to be doing is paying what's called 2 times EBITDA. Now, EBITDA is basically earnings before tax and deductions, okay? So whatever the profit is for per year, you times that by 2, and that's roughly what the value of the company is, plus any assets, any property that the company owns. So with us, you know, it was the profits times 2 plus the stock value, but we got it under market value. So the thing is, you can now go and buy these companies understanding this principle by negotiating what's called a deferred consideration. So on this company, what we did was put a small payment down. We put £15,000 down as a down payment. We paid for the legal fees, so it came to about 18 grand in total for us. And we've bought a company that's making for 235, that's making 360,000 pounds a year in terms of turnover. So this is how you can structure these deals. This is why this is so beautiful, because once you start to get into the flow of these things and start to know how to do these deals, it becomes easier for you to, number one, find them, number one, know how to spot a motivated seller, someone who wants to retire, and then structure the deal. Make sure you've got a management team in place or people who can do the work for you, and then you structure the deal on a deferred consideration, i.e. my terms, so you can get the deal done and you can do it in your way. That way you're not having to pull out and shell out a load of money. And the beauty of doing deals this way is that you take control of the company, you take control of the shares, take control of the day-to-day running, you get lawyers to sort all that stuff out, and from the day you've taken it over, you're taking those profits in, okay? And what you're essentially doing is paying for the business out of its profits. Now, owners don't really mind this because they know they're getting their money, because what they want to do is they want to exit. They want to get out. They want to go off to Lanzarote. They want to go off to retire. They want to go off and do those things they want to do. So this is why this is super important. This is why I'm doing this now, and some of our academy members are starting to do this. Now, you might be thinking, Akhtar, this sounds amazing. This is all great. I don't know how to run businesses. Well, look, let me give you an opportunity here, okay? Inside the academy, we don't just teach property, you know, we do other things. We teach people how to set up coaching businesses. We teach people how to coach their employees or their teams. We've also got business growth. We've also got peak performance, which is about how to be the best as an entrepreneur. And of course, we do lots of mindset stuff. So what I want to do is I want to give you a special invitation, okay? I'm only doing this now just because I'm feeling generous, okay? And I've got a few spaces inside the academy. There'll be a link around this video. If you want to book a one-to-one call with me, what I'll do is go through your business and put a strategy together for you. If you're interested in doing some M&A stuff and buying businesses, let's have a chat and see if we can put that together. There'll be a link around this video. All you need to do is click that link. You can book a call with me, okay? We can jump on a Zoom call, we can go through things, and I can hopefully put a strategy together for you to take you from where you are now to where you want to be. So go ahead and do that. And if you want to find out any more about coaching stuff, we can have a discussion on that call, okay? So guys, I hope you found this video super useful and helpful. This, in my opinion, is the best thing since sliced bread, okay? Because the amount of money you can earn in the shortest period of time. So if you want to find out more about this stuff, please like, subscribe, put your comments in this video. If there's anything else you want to know, I'll produce some more videos. I hope you found this useful, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Take care. Bye for now.